Today we're making Bolognese pasta. For this we need pasta, ground meat, sea salt, parmesan, chopped tomatoes, olive oil, pepper, salt, rosemary, bay leaf, carrots, celery, garlic, onions, red wine, beef broth, balsamic vinegar, and tomato paste. First, we'll cut the vegetables. Here I have a celery and a carrot, and I'll peel both of them now. Well, then I'll peel the onions. I have regular household onions here. Just cut off the top and bottom and peel them thinly. Okay. Then we'll cut them into small brunoise. Small brunoise are nothing more than tiny little cubes that you can hardly see in the sauce later. For that, I'll take the celery and cut it into slices about 2 to 3 millimeters thick. Then I simply stand them up on the cut surface. Now I'll first cut off the strip here, and then into small cubes. Okay, then I'll cut the carrot, I'll halve it once and slice it thinly, so it stays stable and doesn't tip while I cut, preventing injury. And now first into slices here as well, and then cut it into thin strips. Now dice them. Since carrot and celery are both firm and cook at the same rate, we can mix them now. Next, we'll cut the onions. First, cut them in half, then just slice them like this. Okay, and now cut across so we get cubes, and now just cut them down into fine cubes here. I'll add that to the sauce later with the carrots and celery, so I can mix it all together now. Then I'll chop the garlic. Just cut off the top and bottom once. Cut the garlic in half, and now just slice the garlic here into thin slices. Cut very thin into small sticks like this. The vegetables are ready, so we can start the sauce. For that, we'll set up some pasta water and also get the pot ready where we'll make the sauce. Then I add a bit of olive oil to the pot. It's very important that the pot gets relatively hot. Now, this olive oil needs to start bubbling a bit so that the ground meat gets seared really well and develops a bit of a roasted flavor. It tastes much better afterwards. If you were to put it into cold oil now, it would just turn gray and lose its flavor, and it wouldn't have that great roasted taste. I'm adding more salt to the pasta water. It's always important to salt it generously. Don't be afraid, even if it seems like a lot. Now you can already see quite well that little bubbles are rising up. Now the oil has the right temperature. Now we add the ground meat. Please buy freshly ground meat the same day. I'm adding it now. Careful, no splattering. And now I fry it until it's a bit crumbly, so that small individual pieces form. Press it down gently with the spoon. And it's very important with the Bolognese that you always salt and pepper the meat right away, even while browning it. Otherwise, the sauce will taste great later, but the meat inside will taste a bit bland. That's why you should always season generously with salt and add a bit of pepper right when browning. Now let's saute the vegetables with the tomato paste. I'm adding everything at once now. Onions, carrots, celery, and garlic. That's totally fine. They all have about the same cooking time. And the tomato paste too. Tomato paste is very acidic, and the acidity goes away if you saute it a little. Let's saute that nicely for another 2-3 minutes as well. The vegetables look very good like this, and now we can deglaze them right away. First, I'll add the red wine and let it reduce completely. That means stir it in now. Probably let it cook for about 5 minutes until almost all the wine is gone, and then we can add the tomatoes and the remaining spices. And then the sauce needs to cook for a bit. As you can see, the red wine's liquid has cooked off and much of the acidity has dissipated. Now we can add the broth. Here I have cooked a beef broth. You can also use a bouillon cube, but if you use a bouillon cube, please use one from the organic store. There's simply no monosodium glutamate in it. That's really bad for your taste buds, and in general, you should just avoid flavor enhancers altogether. And now we're going to add the tomatoes. These are strained, chunky tomatoes, the kind that come in a can. They're sometimes called pizza tomatoes. Now we'll add our herbs as well, a bit of fresh rosemary and a bay leaf. Then we can go ahead and add a bit more salt. And now our bolognese really needs to cook for at least 40 minutes, so that the liquid, the meat, and the tomatoes really combine into a creamy, smooth, and velvety sauce. And so it's not so liquid anymore. And the acidity from the tomatoes also goes away because of the long cooking time. So you can also let it cook for an hour. That doesn't harm the sauce at all if it gets a little too thick during the cooking time. So if there's too little liquid and there's a risk of it burning, just add a splash of water and let it cook a bit longer. We'll see each other again in a moment when the sauce has reduced a bit. Here I am again. Now the bolognese has cooked for about 40 minutes and you can really see that a lot of the liquid has boiled off. I've already added more water because it was dry, which could be dangerous if it burns. I explained that earlier. I've added a bit more, and this is the right consistency. It's nice and creamy. The sauces have now combined with the fat, which is exactly how it should look. Now next I'll go ahead and take out the herbs, so the bay leaf and whatever else I can find. If there's still a little piece left in there, it's not a big deal. You can eat the herbs, or you can pick them out a bit when serving if they bother you. Now, because of the acidity from the tomatoes, it's still quite sour. That's why, funnily enough, I add another splash of vinegar, but a balsamic vinegar. It has a lot of sweetness, and the sourness from the vinegar combined with this sweetness, so not too much. A few drops really round it off nicely, and it gives a much more delicious flavor. The sauce is done. Now add the pasta to the hot water. We'll cook them according to the instructions on the package, in this case about 10 minutes. Most people always eat bolognese with spaghetti. Personally, I don't think that's so great because a short pasta shape like these fusilli, which are twisted, is better. They absorb much more of our meat sauce than spaghetti does. When you twirl them, the sauce slides off, so you end up with sauce left on your plate after eating all the noodles. And that's actually a bit suboptimal. It works much better with these fusilli. Now the noodles have cooked for 10 minutes, they're done. Now we can drain them. Always keep noodles a little al dente for a better bite. Overcooked noodles don't taste good. Now I'll let the noodles steam off for a bit. I mentioned that before. That creates a sort of starchy coating around the noodles, which simply makes sure that the sauce can stick to them really well. So just wait a bit and stir them around so the water really drips off. They've dried a bit, so we can start plating them nicely. We added generous portions of noodles. Then now some of our deliciously simmered bolognese. A generous dollop on top with perfect consistency, just as it should be. Now we'll add a bit of fresh pepper on top. I also really like a splash of cold-pressed olive oil. Now, after we've plated it, just drizzle a little over the sauce. It gives it a really silky and delicious flavor. Now I have the vegetable peeler here, and I'm just going to shave a few strips of Parmesan over it. That goes right on top. That's already enough. If you want more, just add a little more. And if you like, you can stick a little sprig of rosemary in the middle, then serve right away and enjoy your meal. Enjoy your meal.